All right, it's that time. I finally owe you guys an explanation of what's going on. I mean, seriously, it's been what, 4 or 5 months since the last upload on this channel, which is just mind-blowing that much time has already passed. But I'm here to talk to you guys about where I've been, where I'm going, what the plan is from here on out. If you haven't noticed, it's been a minute since I've uploaded, like I said. And so if you haven't noticed, I mean, hey, it's all good. I want to talk about just kind of my thoughts on where the CoD scene's at right now, where my future is with content creation, and where we go from here collectively, because I think it's a pretty interesting time in COD's history right before Modern Warfare 2 2022 comes out, to talk about all of these things. So without further ado, let's just get right into this one. Let's go. This all kind of started back probably heading into Vanguard just around last November, last fall, with just kind of considering what my future could look like or what direction I wanted to head with the channel. Basically, I've been doing this, full time since like May of 2019. At the time I had like 10,000 subscribers graduating from college, and I wanted to give it a go like full time at content. So I kind of took a gap year, and then COVID happened, which kind of extended the whole gap year into a 2-year thing. And then we were rolling at that point. And so I was basically living the life of a full-time YouTuber for about 2.5, 3 years or so, which is insane. Like, if you would have told myself when I first uploaded my first video on Salvation's Elite back in 2014, that at any point I'd get to live like a full-time YouTuber, I mean, I would have just been hyped. So truly, like, that was already getting the chance to live a dream there, which was like really cool for me, just regardless. Just that thought process of, okay, how do I want to take the channel from here? Where's the future of the podcast look like? Obviously, the best 3 podcasts, the GOATs, Sam, Rex. Wasn't sure exactly where I wanted to go from here, because it felt like I'd kind of hit all of the milestones that I really had set out originally to hit when it came to like, having big videos, having videos that had over 100,000 views, and having a channel that had consistent viewership and I could post and have like, 5,000 views a video and stuff like that. The things that I thought were gonna be really hard to do in the competitive Call of Duty space. So for a long time, I was just incredibly hyped about that, but it definitely felt like we had hit a little bit of a ceiling. The question was, where to go from there. And I kept wrestling with that question just throughout the launch of Vanguard. And obviously Vanguard had a lot of problems, of course, in itself, and wasn't a great Call of Duty game by any means. All of those things just kept kind of playing out, and there's just so much negativity around the CDL. The tide really turned on kind of my decision when Call of Duty announced that Modern Warfare 2 would be a 2-year game, that we wouldn't have a new Call of Duty, at least up until, January 1st of 2024. That was just really frustrating for me, considering I know how I didn't love Modern Warfare. It was fine. Modern Warfare was a fun game, and Search and Destroy in that game was a blast. But obviously when it came to Respawn and all of the competitive support and those things, inherently I'm just not convinced I'm going to love Modern Warfare. And after seeing the beta, mixed feelings about the beta overall, which we can talk about. I'm hoping to live stream here soon enough, which I'll talk about that too. Long story short, I think not having a guarantee of a Treyarch game, which, I mean, we all know Treyarch's the best developers. At that point, I started considering what would it look like if I didn't do Call of Duty content full time anymore. And so that was kind of a whole process. And I was talking with Sam and Rex about how we wanted to move with the podcast. And we were kind of at a point where like either we needed to double down, like, well, financially for the channel, either I needed to like double down, start a Patreon, kind of like that monthly payments in, so that I could potentially hire an editor and we could take the gaming channel to the next level, take the podcast to the next level, and do all of that collectively. So that was one option. I'm already working like 12 or 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pump that up to 14 hours a day, basically every day of the week, and then do Patreon and double down on Modern Warfare 2, because I mean, obviously it's gonna be a popular game, and all of these things were kind of running through my head. On the other side, I was like, well, what if I explore what it would look like to not do content full time? So obviously there are a lot of Call of Duty reasons for why I was exploring different options. And then there was a bunch of just personal reasons too in it. Like, I'm obviously in my mid 20s. I'm a few years after college now. I'm thinking about the next like 3, 4, 5 years and what I really want to commit to. When you're a full-time YouTuber doing 12 or 14 hours a day, it ain't easy trying to have a social life either. So you're trying to balance those things. And I was living in Indianapolis for the past year. So I was trying to figure out if I wanted to move back to Nebraska or move somewhere else or stay in Indy. So there were all of these things. And like, I definitely felt like I had been growing as a person and really had rekindled my love for learning and had been having a ton of fun learning some different things and reading books again, which I hadn't been doing in, years. And so I had just kind of hit a little changing point for me personally from the Call of Duty perspective. Then obviously I had felt like I'd kind of hit some of that ceiling. Like me and Tactical Rabbit's channels hadn't really grown much in the past 6 months relative to where they had grown in the previous 2 years, or on a monthly basis. And obviously a lot of the former COD pros were now hopping into content like Zuma and Apathy and Slacked and Parasite even, and now Crim6 after his retirement, which, man, sucks to see Crim6 retire, man. I tweeted that because I'm like, the dude's a GOAT and he's obviously so fun, makes the game so fun to talk about. So it sucks to see Crim retire. But long story short, obviously all the stars aligned back in 2020 for the channel to blow up, but I don't feel like me personally as a content creator was fully there yet to capitalize on the attention that the channel could have had. My skills now, if I could transport my skills as a content creator now to 2019, 2020, and really capitalize on Modern Warfare with the tier list videos that year, I look back on them, I'm like, man, I didn't do a good job of articulating a lot of those things very well, or connecting with the audience very well. There are all of these things that I'm just like, man, I wish I had the skills I had now to go back and capitalize on those things. But life's life. It is what it is, and you learn as you go. And I couldn't have learned all these things if I wasn't doing it full time. So it's just a whole bunch of that type of stuff. So a lot of those things aligned. Modern Warfare blew up. It was a really popular game. The CDL obviously launched, and that brought new attention, brought people to YouTube. And I had already been doing the community tournaments and did the community league that year. And so everything was kind of going right for me in Modern Warfare, but the channel still didn't take enough of a leap to get to a point where I could make a full-blown income from it, unless I took another pretty massive leg up or step forward here in the next year, which Cold War just didn't do that. So that's why I was really at this turning point with either having to double down with Patreon and go from there, or look somewhere else. In that process of looking for something else, I was kind of like, well, what do I want to be doing in 5 years? When I'm turning 30, what do I want to be doing during that time? And do I want to be doing COD full time? Do I want to be doing something else? And so all those conversations were kind of spinning in my head all throughout this time. I definitely do think that COD has some hurdles to overcome here if they really want the CDL to take the next step. And part of what I really bet on when I decided to go full time was the potential of franchising really taking competitive COD to the next level. And obviously we haven't seen that. If anything, the scene maybe grew since BO4, but if it did, it's not by much. And it's still reliant on Optic and Scump for a large majority of the fan base. And so a lot of the hope was, okay, we'd start diversifying the fan bases even more over the next 2-3 seasons. And then, by the time we get to 2022, 2023, we'd have expansions in the CDL. We'd have all of these new challengers content and a whole bunch of new people in the scene, when channels would have 300, 400,000 viewers at that point. That was kind of the conversation back then, in 2019. And obviously none of that really happened. COVID obviously threw a wrench in the plans, but we've seen other esports only get more and more popular, and COD's just kind of been cruising at the same level, which is just frustrating. And then you have all of the legends potentially retiring. And then of course there's always a world where Scump could retire at any point. And when that happens, that's only going to hurt the scene and really hurt viewership on YouTube as well. So just from a financial standpoint, that's also another aspect, is at some point I had to get the channel to a point where I was making a full-blown actual yearly salary from Call of Duty, which at this point, I had showed in the video I posted at the beginning of the year, I had made $20,000 in a year, but I hadn't made a truly enough money actually live on as an adult moving forward. So those were all just different reasons for why I needed to kind of make a decision at some point. There's kind of all of those different random questions that were floating in my head throughout that time too. So with all those questions in my head, I came across maybe the potential of doing a grad school or some sort of grad program. And I really explored a lot of options, but I didn't want to take out any student loans. And so there was just kind of a debate of trying to figure out where's an affordable place I could potentially go to get scholarships, something along those lines. And I saw some recommendations to check out Europe for very cheap or affordable or free master's programs. And so I ended up finding a program a handful of programs I really liked and I applied to them. And so that was kind of when, all right, I'll post an update video once I know whether or not I'm getting into the programs, and then I can kind of go from there. But it took way longer to hear back from these programs than I thought it would. Long story, really long. I'm gonna be going to Germany, moving to Germany to do a digital media master's program there. Again, really cool because German programs are all free. So financially, it makes just a ton of sense for me. And it's digital media and it's a cool, like pretty international program. The place I'm in my life, it just made a lot of sense to say, why not, and go for it. And so I want to say this because I still want to be involved with Call of Duty in the future. I mean, I still really love Call of Duty. Playing COD is fun. I think the teamwork and the scene is just a blast. It's really interesting. It's really cool. I know for a fact that my time with content is just beginning. So this is kind of a feeling I've had for a long time, is like, I feel like I'm just getting started. Like as a content creator, I'm in the infant stages of what true content creation will look like. And I still feel like I'm trying to find exactly where I fit best in the whole world that is content. And so one thing's for sure is that I'm not gonna stop posting content in the long term. Like I'm going to be doing content, which is why I'm doing a digital media program and all of these things. Like it's a very hands-on program, so it's gonna be cool. You can develop your skills and get better at content creation while going through the program, which I think is really cool. And so long story short, make sure to stay with me like on social medias, on Twitter, which I'll be using my Salvation's Elite Twitter. There's the links down in the description for that. Instagram, josh.roloffs on Instagram, which the link's down in the description too. So just stay connected with me there because I know I'm gonna be posting content in the future, whether or not it's always COD related. Also, shout out to all my fellow Europeans. I'll be joining you guys overseas. So, I mean, hey, you guys have always been asking for a European community tournament. So maybe that was the time it could finally happen. Everything in the past has been an absolute blast on the channel, and the community tournaments, the community leagues, all of the live streams and game battles and tips and tricks and all of those things played into the decision. And you know, like I said, the biggest thing was that the Modern Warfare 2 being a 2-year game, I was looking down the road. I'm like, do I really want to be posting tips and tricks videos on Modern Warfare 2 for 2 years? And those were the types of things that definitely pushed me in the other direction when it came to exploring other options. So man, I really appreciate you guys. Again, follow me on social media and stay connected there. I really want to stay connected with you guys throughout socials and throughout this time, because it's going to be crazy and wild. And like I said, I feel like I am just getting started in the content journey. So make sure to hang with me, and I'll definitely hang with you guys too. And be on the lookout for some streams, because I want to do that before I sell my PC. I want to play some more Vanguard, because I've been playing some of the ranked play on Vanguard. I still think it's a blast. I apologize for not getting a video out or some sort of content out sooner than this. That's my bad. And you guys deserve better communication than that. But I appreciate you guys for hanging with me, like I said. But thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging. But as always, guys, I'm your boy Salvation's Elite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.